Assalamualaikum and good morning to my lecturers and friends. Today we are going to talk about our group assignment, which is book printing of our library management. Well, this is our course of CSC 126, which is for fundamentals of algorithms and computer problem solving. Our group members consist of three people. Firstly, is me, HANZALAH bin Hamidi, Nushfa binti Zulkifli, and lastly, ANISA HUMAIRA binti AHMAD. Okay, next. This is the content of the index. We have firstly have the summary. Secondly, our objectives, analysis, pseudocode, flowchart, source code, and finally the sample output. Okay, now moving on to the summary. We have four parts actually. Firstly, the starting, the personal information, the book information, and lastly is about the ending. Okay, for the starting, the user, when the user enter our system, it will be greeted by a loading bar, and afterwards the system will ask, customer, do you want to still proceed with this process, or do you want to exit? If the user decided to pause, go on, the customer will enter one. But if the customer doesn't want to do the process, the customer will press other than one, and then the system will exit. Okay. Afterwards, the user will be greeted by a guideline that emphasizes about what is the flow that the user to need to focus on, what kind of information that the user need to insert. Why do we do this? Because we are actually a very friendly user programmers. We want to ensure that the customers have the best experience when using our programming system. Okay, next. We go on to the next part, which is the personal information. At this part, the person will need to enter uh, his name or her name, age, and also the confirmation whether he or she is a student or not. Okay, when the student has entered this information, we will put it in the output of the overall, so that the person can print it and give it to the librarian. Okay, next for the book information. Well, to summarize it, basically, we will give the customers the guidelines like the genre, the menu, like the language, the genre, the price, the duration, so that the user knows which kind of offers that they can take, that they can choose from it. Afterwards, the user will need to enter its genre, its language, its duration, its prices, and also the weight of the books. And in that process, each of the books that the user want to rent, it will output. It will put an output of the for each of the book, which means, for instances, I want to rent two books. Then, thus, there will be two receipt for each of the books that I have rent. Why do we do this? We do this because so that the user can verify the information whether it is true or not. Because our company, our library management system, always emphasize about transparency at its fullest potential. Okay, finally, at the ending, we want to ask if they want to continue or not. Okay, before that, there will be an overall output, or basically an overall receipt that tells the user, okay, user, this is all of the prices that you need to pay, basically like that. Because we don't want to make the users think about so much, maybe fuzzer step so much. So we have make uh, an output for the receipt that tells the overall of the books basically. And then lastly, if the user still want to proceed, the user will enter one. But if not, the user will enter and numbers other than one. Okay, that's all for summary. Thank you very much. Intuitive and efficient system that streamlines labor operations, user friendly, so it would enhance customers' experience. And also, we want to actually develop a simple software application using the top C++ language. But do you know why do we actually do this? Well, the reason why we as the programmers are very compassionate about learning. We want to actually learn and also do the most beautiful, the most gorgeous system that we can do out of this. That's why we put our 120% efforts in this assignment. That is the main reason we do it.
In analysis have three parts which are input, process and output. For input, process of starting the system will ask the user to input the answer. Next, getting personal information, ask the user to input their name, age, and student status. Then, ask the user to input the quantity of book, genre, and language to get the book information from customer. Process of getting weight of the book is to determine average, heaviest, and lightest, and to calculate total weight of the book range. For process, function call for rental cost using switch based on the days that customer want to rent the book. Function call discount to calculate discount using if selection. If student status is Y, the customer will get 50% off. For calculation total price, function calc total price was using formula days minus discount. Function calc final price to calculate final price for the overall book rate. Formula total weight plus weight was calculated in function calc total weight using for loop. Function calc average was used to calculate average book using formula total weight divide quantity book, and the heaviest and lightest weight can determine by using for loop. For output, the guideline to renting book system was displayed to help the customer. Then the choices of genre, language, duration, and price of rent book was displayed. Receipt for one book was displayed with genre, language, duration, price before discount, and price after discount. Then the overall receipt in renting system was displayed with name, age, student status, average of book taken, heaviest, lightest, total weight of book taken, and final price book range. Lastly, count plus plus was displayed as number of customer renting history. We will proceed for the next slide, which is pseudocode. For pseudocode, in main function, first read answer to start the program. While answer is not 0, read name. While true, read age. Then read student stat. Then read quantity book. If quantity book greater equal than 1 and quantity book less than equal 4, then display quantity book. Else, ask the user to enter quantity book again. Next, read the genre of the book and read the language of the book. If true, display the genre and language. Else, ask the user to input the genre and language again. Next, display receipt for one book include genre, language, duration, price before discount, and price after discount. Then, read book weight. Declare number array for the book. Read weight to determine the heaviest and lightest. Display receipt for overall rent book system that include name, age, student status, average book, heaviest, lightest, total weight, and final price. Then, read answer of customer whether they want to proceed or not. While answer is 1, then display count user. Pseudocode for header function display the guideline about renting system, the manner to ask personal information, the book information, cost, weight, and receipt. Pseudocode for typebook function will display the choices of genre, language, duration of book, and price of the rent book. Pseudocode for calculate rental cost function is using switch. Case 7 days return 7 ringgit. Case 21 days return 21 ringgit. Case 28 days return 28 ringgit. Then return -1 to the main function. For pseudocode for calc discount function, if student status equal Y, the price will set discount using formula days multiply 0.15, then return discount to the main function. For pseudocode for calc total weight, set total weight equal 0 for I less than quantity book, then the total weight set using formula total weight plus equal weight I. Return total weight in the main function. Pseudocode for calc average, set heaviest equal weight 0 and set lightest equal weight 0. Rate average book and set using formula total weight divide quantity book, then return average book in the main function.
I will explain to you about our flowchart. In the first flowchart, which is about our main function, that shows how the programming works, which is in the first page, the flowchart show how the system read your personal information that you have added, such as your name, your age, are you a student, and the quantity of book that you want to borrow. And then it will proceed to ask you about the gender that you want to choose to borrow, of the gender of the book that you want to choose. And then in the second page is the continuous of the flowchart of the main flowchart, which is after they ask about the gender, it will show how about the language that you want to choose, such as E for English. And after they ask about the language, the system will ask you about how many days that you want to borrow the book, and it will look until how many books that you want, that you already put at first, about how many books that you want to borrow. If you put 4 books, it will repeat asking the question about the language and gender that you want 4 times. And then the third page is about the receipt of the books that you already borrow, which is will display everything about the book's information and even your information. And in this books, in this page also, it will show you how the arrays work, about the weight of the books that have been borrowed. And this is the last page of our main function flowchart, which is shows the overall receipt of the book's payment. In this receipt, it will shows again it will shows all the information that have been put before this, which is your personal information, the book information with the price of the books that have been borrowed, and the weight of the books. In this page, there are 2 flowcharts about 2 things, which is the first flowchart is about the header flowchart, where it was using the function header. In this flowchart, it shows how the programming make an instruction to the user to enter exactly what the need in this program. And the second flowchart is the typebook flowchart, where using the function typebook, this flowchart shows how exactly the system with all the books information, such as the gender of the books, the language, the duration, and the price. This fourth flowchart is about the function of calculate rental cost. This flowchart shows how the function are used to calculate the price of the book that have been borrowed based on how many days it was borrowed. This fifth flowchart is about the function called discount, which shows how the discount was applied in this program, which is based on if the customer is a student or not. If the customer is a student, they will get the discount, and if the customer is not a student, they will not get a discount. This sixth flowchart is about the car total weight function, which is used to calculate the total weight of the books. As example, if you borrowed 4 books, it will show the total weight of all of the 4 books. In this last flowchart, it was about the function called average, where it was used to calculate the average of the book's weight.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and welcome back to the next part, which is the source code and simple output. Okay, so now as you see here, we are have declared that they include IR stream, CC type, SC float, Windows.h, stream, normal name, std, lab.h. Why do this important? Because in each of the include, they are we call it as the library, in which will allow our code to be run more smoothly or to be run basically. Okay, we also have insert also the define for the colors. Like as you see here, the font colors we put the reset yellow, cyan, light green, light pink. Okay, for the reset, it's basically reset to the color to its original based on the system. Okay, so now we also have included the function declaration, variable declarations, and also the code itself. Okay, so now, okay. So now, as you see here, firstly, when I enter the system, it will ask me, user, do you want to still continue? Well, I said I would. Therefore, I will press one, and then it will bring us to the next slide, which is, oops, sorry, which is this one. Okay, we also use the while loop basically to ensure all of the all of the correct informations can only be inserted, not the incorrect ones. Yes, of course. Okay, for instances, we have age and also the confirmation of students. For instances, if I were to insert, maybe letters in age, therefore, it will all of the inputs will go through the if else statement, and finally, it will give me the output like input. Please enter a positive number only, like number one and above. Because what you has go to the it else statement basically. Okay, so next, as we see here, we also need to enter the quantity books basically. Okay, basically, the user now can only choose from 1 to 4 how many books that he want to borrow actually. Okay, like me, if I were to pick one, what would happen? Well, it will only generate one of the receipt in which we will later discuss on. Okay, for the genre also, we also make the while loop too. Like as you see here, we say that like in this coding, the while loop condition in which we see it while genre, if not e, if not f, and until not n, it will output of the input we call it as invalid because what all of the input does not follows all of the inserted all of the predetermined input that we have put in our coding basically. Okay, okay, so now we move on to the language. Okay, now the user need to also to check the language basically based on the menu that we have given to them. And then the user need to make a decision. Okay, what kind of language I want? Do I want to Malay? Do I want English or do I want others? Well, if the user enters the wrong language, therefore the coding will go through the while loop and will display invalid input for language. Please start again. Okay, well, for the genre, we also use the switch case statement. Basically, it is the same with if a statement, but I don't know. Maybe in my opinion, the switch case statement seems more, organized. In my opinion, okay, okay. So, I want to say here that basically the functionality of the switch case statement or to put, or sorry, my bad, or if a statement is basically the same. As you see here, if the analyzed input does not follow the criteria of the switch break predetermined input, therefore it will display default, which means invalid. Okay, next. As you see here, after all of the previous informations has been inserted, it will display a receipt for each of the books that uh, we have inserted. It now correlates back when I said about the quantity of books. If I pick two books, there will be two receipts that will display this the information that I have inserted, like genre, language, and so on. Okay, but what are the things? What are the kind of informations in the of each of the book? Well, we would mention is genre, language, duration, days, price before discount, and also price after 50% discount being applied. Okay, now as you see here, after that, the user need to enter the weight for the books right after the each of the receipt has been displayed. Okay, so that what would it be after that? Well, okay, after that it would show the newest one. So basically, it will show the overall output of the program. Okay, the further output of the program, in which will end the program here, we will display all of the overall from basically the quantity of books, uh, quantity of books that the user has inserted. Okay, right before that, do you see that in the weight you also use array? Like you see, we use weight. You see heaviest equals to weight array 0, or you see lightest to easy to weight you see equals to weight array 0. Well, this is basically our coding actually. Okay, so now what are the kinds of informations in our output or in our overall book information? Well, we have name, we have age, we have the confirmation whether the user is a student or not. Well, we also take also the average weight of the books taken, the heaviest book, the lightest book, the total weight of the books for all of the books. Okay, and then finally the final price of the books basically. Okay, I'm sorry because the output is not in the same, it's not in the same sizing or in the same format because it is too big. Therefore, we need to split it. Okay, right after that, the program will ask the user back. User, do you still want to pause? Do you still want to continue with the process? Well, if yes, the user will press 1 and then it will keep counting. But what if the user press 0? Well, we will exit the system and then the system will display the user count for how many times the user has used this system, basically. So, that's all for me. Thank you very much.
This is the code that gives guideline to help the customer follow the book renting system. This is the code that shows the choices of genre, language, duration, and price, which is rental cost. On my left, have the code to display loading bar, while on my right, have function to calculate rental cost for one book, function to get 15% discount for student, and function to calculate price after discount. This function will return to the main function. In this slide, show the function to calculate final price, total weight, and average weight of the book. Total weight using a for loop and return total weight to the main function. Average weight use a formula total weight divide quantity book and return average book to the main function.
Come back to our sample output. Now we see here. Firstly, the user will be greeted, or me, I will be greeted by the loading bar. And also, the user will also need to enter either 1 or 0 to actually to proceed with the process. That's for the guideline. As you can see here, after the user enter the number 1, well, the new guideline will be generated, and then will tell the user what is the flow of this program. Like I think as you can see here, I split to the four parts A, B, C, and D. A, entering personal information. B, entering book information. C, entering book costs and weight of the books. And lastly, C, output the receipt. Okay, next. Okay, next. As you can see here, this is the personal information. I inserted my name, my age, and also whether no, I mean the confirmation of the whether I'm a student or not. And in this case, I put yes. Okay, for the put information, I also need to enter my number, my quantity of books, which made in which I take only one. I put only one. Next, I also put put for my genre, from which after I put the quantity of books reduced. The set of menus that consists of genre, language, duration, and prices will be generated, and then I can make my choices upon that, upon of the menu. Okay, as you can see here, enter the genre of the books have E, which means I pick E for education. For the language, I put M for the Malay, and also for the days of the rent, I put only 28 days. Okay, for the receipt, for the receipt, it will be generated for each of the books that I have inserted. In this case, I only put only one, and then thus making the receipt only making the receipt only appear only once. Okay, as you can see here, it will only generate genre, language, duration, price before discount, price after 50% discount being applied, RM if eligible. Okay, afterwards, I also need to enter the weight of the book, enter the weight only in gram. Okay, if I will also need to enter the weight of the books in which I have friend. Okay, then afterwards, I will generate lastly the output, the last output, or basically the receipt for all overall. Okay, as you can see here, this is my receipt. That's my name, my age, am I a student or not, and then enable information overall, like the average weight of the books taken, heaviest book, lightest book, total weight of the books, for all of the books, and then the price of the book, and lastly, the final price of the books. And afterwards, I also need to put the information. Do you want to rent the books, or basically the system asks again, user or customer, do you still want to rent the books? If yes, please press 1, or not, please press other than number 1. Well, for this case, I don't want to do it anymore. I put the number 0, therefore it will exit the system. But before it exit the system, we'll also it also says to the user or the customer like, thank you for using our service, and it will display user count for each of the user used this program. Okay, so that's for me. Thank you very much.
In conclusion, all objectives in renting system have been achieved with efficient of booking system. Renting book system can rent and reserve a book without any issue. Furthermore, this system also able to select the book's language and genre instantly. Customer can decide the length of time to borrow the book for education purpose or other purpose. User-friendly and cost-effective system. Our system generates a receipt that shows the total amount that has to be paid.